Breaking news minutes ago, Tulsi Gabbard just dropped some firebombs with Laura Ingraham talking about the Russia hoax, the deep state, trust in federal agencies, and the future, and also so much more. So without wasting any more time, here's Tulsi Gabbard looking straight into the camera and saying what no one else in her position has ever dared to say before. This is so good. Also, if you like having conversations like this, if you think they matter, please consider liking and subscribing. Now let's go ahead and jump right in.
There's a report tonight from the Federalist that the DOJ is actually asking you for more documents in its grand jury probe. Is that true? And what are they asking for now?
That is true, Laura. And I just want to point out how important this is that Attorney General Pam Bondi, through the Department of Justice, is taking this necessary first step toward accountability, which is essential for the American people to begin to have any kind of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. I met with the Department of Justice prosecutors today, and yes, they are committed to leaving no stone unturned as they conduct this grand jury investigation and find the truth. Obviously, we've already handed over the documents that we've declassified and released publicly over the last few weeks. They have more questions, and they're going to be really taking a deep dive into this again, looking everywhere to find the truth and conduct this very serious investigation.
Looking everywhere to find the truth. When Tulsi Gabbard, our director of national intelligence, says no stone will be left unturned, she's not just talking about the DOJ. She's talking about digging and digging until all the truth is up in the air for everyone to see. And I love to see it. You know what else I love to see? Check this out. Tulsi Gabbard essentially body slamming former President Barack Obama because him and his tribe were essentially writing fiction and then calling it intelligence. Completely disgusting. Check it out.
As you were playing those clips of these people like Morning Joe seemingly befuddled, saying that by no account is any of this true, I would challenge them to see if they've actually read the documents, every single page of the documents that we've released over the last couple of weeks. If not, go to odni.gov, It's all right there for anyone to see. And those who go in and read this will see how President Obama directed that a National Security Council meeting be called to talk about Russia, that the report that came out of that meeting was filled with tasks that were delivered by James Clapper's assistant to John Brennan and to other elements of the intelligence community. John Brennan was the head of the CIA at the time, all saying per the president's direction, per the president's order. And very specifically, they were tasked to create an intelligence assessment that detailed how Moscow tried to influence the election, not if, but how. And this was the beginning of this manufactured intelligence assessment where they knowingly wrote things in this assessment that were false, and they knew they were false. They knew that they were basing it on discredited intelligence or documents like the Steele dossier that was politically motivated and that they knew was false. And this was how they came up with the Russia hoax that was then weaponized and used to try to delegitimize the president, President Trump, and to try to ultimately enact this years-long coup throughout his entire 4 years of his first administration.
My goodness, why aren't more people talking about this? Manufactured intelligence, discredited intelligence meant to solely delegitimize President Trump. They knowingly spread these lies, and people like me and people like you heard these lies endlessly. And it's terrible because more people consume the lie than the people who are consuming the truth right now. And that's why I think this conversation is so important, because I think this is part of the redemptive arc. This is the healing that we need to bring into this conversation. So I'm very grateful for it. And here's the conversation continued right here. And this is actually might be one of my favorite segments. Check it out.
Propaganda media, we got to pay attention. We got to use our common sense and recognize we should accept nothing they say at face value.
And how important is it to root out any remaining problems in these agencies, Director? Because we need our people to believe in the FBI, to believe in the CIA, to have or get rid of them altogether. I mean, I hate to say that, or just completely defund a lot of these intelligence agencies. If we can't trust them, if they're going to subvert democracy and subvert our presidency, why are we funding them?
Well, this is, and I'll go back to that Mark Warner tweet that you put out saying that I'm a threat to national security. Why? Because I'm actually exposing the truth. As Director of National Intelligence, I'm doing the work to go and root out those deep state bad actors within the intelligence community, because our country's national security depends on it. The rule of law requires it. The integrity of our democratic republic requires that, rooting out the truth, telling the truth to the American people, and bringing about that accountability. So yes, it is essential across the board, not only to root out the individual bad actors, but to enact the kind of institutional reform to make it so that these kinds of things cannot be allowed to happen again.
Director, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean.
Wow. Accountability, institutional reform. My absolute favorite clip. You know, we need to trust our agencies, but the question is how? How do you restore trust in agencies that have completely obliterated their trust with the public? You restore trust by telling the truth, regardless of who it protects, who it affects, who it exposes, and who it shatters. And that's why when Tulsi Gabbard is out here on Fox News describing these events, that's why I'm never surprised whenever I see comments like this: Vance Gabbard in 2028. All right, because Tulsi Gabbard talks about the exposure of the corruption, and people just eat it up so effortlessly. And speaking of Vice President Vance, I don't know if you guys have seen this clip. It's a short clip. It's about 40 seconds, but it is President Trump talking about the future of MAGA, the future of the Republican Party post-Trump. And I thought it was really, really fascinating. Check it out.
You said this morning that you probably won't be running for a third term. This weekend, Secretary of State Rubio said that he thought J.D. Vance would be a great nominee. You could clear the entire Republican field right now. Do you agree that the heir apparent to MAGA is J.D. Vance?
Well, I think most likely, in all fairness, he's the vice president. I think Marco is also somebody that maybe would get together with J.D. in some form. I also think we have incredible people, some of the people on the stage right here. So it's too early, obviously, to talk about it, but certainly he's doing a great job, and he would be probably favored at this point.
You said this morning.
There we go. Do you think Vance and Rubio are the future of MAGA, the future of the Republican Party? Would you support Vance and someone else in 2028? I'd love to know. All right, I really would. Would you consider voting for Tulsi Gabbard and Vance alongside each other? You know, that's interesting. All right. Anyways, I'd love to know what you think about all this in the comment section from this interview that we saw with Laura Ingraham with Tulsi Gabbard, our Director of National Intelligence, as well as President Trump talking about the future of MAGA. All right. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? And I will see you all next time. If you've made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.